Oh, I need to put some headphones on. Sorry. Hello, hello.
Oh my god. Simply too much. I'm gigantic. I feel overdressed and like I'm in everyone's way. Why do I have to be such a statement? Will I make sense in the future? I'm just so wide. I want 1 minute with the man who designed me. Just 1 minute to dive into that mind and understand what God, I'm so tired of myself.
Okay. I have no way of knowing whether I can be heard or not. And I'm just trying to figure this out right now as we go along. Um, and I realized that I scheduled this. I'm trying to um, do it live, and I'm just trying to figure out whether I can do it or not. So I've scheduled to do the MCAT, the Jack Westin's question of the day, and my goal is to finish this in 45 minutes because after that I have a Zoom lecture to hop onto. So hopefully I can finish. Um, I can see that there's nobody really watching this, which is fine, but it will be um, I think posted after I'm done. Again, I'm trying this totally on the fly and first time, so I have no idea how this looks, but we're going to go ahead and try it. Okay, so I actually have to throw the um, share the screen for the MCAT question, so I'm going to try to do that. Okay. And how do I throw in, how do I share? Share screen. Let's see. Mhm. Interesting. Um, don't really know how to share the screen. How do I share the screen? Let me try to look at how I can do that. How's everybody Friday going? I guess whoever is watching this on the replay. Somebody is helping me with this, and hopefully they can tell me how I can be successful in sharing my screen. Oh, okay. Okay. So they're telling me how to do this. Oh, they are helping me with this, which is awesome. Oh, I think I am sharing screen, which is great. Let me just thank them for their help. And just write a little comment for them. Help on time, very much appreciated. Wow, okay. All right, so that's awesome that I am sharing the screen right now and I can actually see what I am sharing, and you can see me at the bottom over there, which is great. Um, okay. All right, so let's get into it right now. Let's start reading the passage and go through these 5 questions. Today, they've labeled this Henry Medici. Henry Medici's greatness has been recognized but not altogether understood. In an ideological climate of anguish and nostalgia, an artist who frankly and supremely celebrated pleasure, and those works are an assurance that the best things in life are immediate and free, is likely to be thought not quite serious enough. And indeed, in Matissey's obituaries, the word charming appeared too frequently. I want people who feel worried, exhausted, overworked to get a feeling of repose when looking at my painting. And now, looking back over his long life's work, one can see that it represents a steady development towards his declared aim. His works of the last 15 or 20 years coming nearest to his ideal, Medici's achievement rests on his play with pure color as Medici understood. And I might be pronouncing this name very incorrectly, and I apologize for that. Or, let's just continue reading. Pure color, as Medici understood it, had nothing to do with abstract color. He repeatedly declared the color must serve expression. When he wanted to express what he wanted to express was the nearly religious feeling he had towards life, towards the blessings of sunlight, flowers, women, fruit, sleep. I'm starting to get a picture of what his painting must have been like. And I really want to see one of the paintings after reading these words. Very interesting. When color is incorporated into a regular pattern, as in a Persian rug, it is a subsidiary element. The logic of the pattern must come first. When color is used in painting, it usually serves either as a decorative embellishment of the forms, as say in Botticelli, or as a force charging them with extra emotion, as in Van Gogh. In Matisse's masterful later works, color becomes the entirely dominant factor. His colors seem neither to embellish nor charge the forms, but to uplift and carry them on the very surface of the canvas. His reds, blacks, golds, ceruleans flow over the canvas with a strength and yet utter placidity um, of water above a veer, the forms carried along on their current. Obviously, such a process implies some distortion of the painted objects, but the distortion is far more of people's preconceived ideas about art than of nature. The numerous drawings that Matisse always made before he arrived at his final color are evidence of the pains he took to preserve the essential character of his subject, while at the same time letting the play with color alter it. Certainly, the effect of these paintings is what he hoped. Their subjective invite, one embarks, and then the flow of the color areas holds one in such short equilibrium that one has a sense of perpetual motion, a sense of movement with all friction removed. It is, of course, true that Matisse's standards of imagination and taste belong to the world of the French upper middle class. No other class in the modern world enjoyed the kind of seclusion, fine taste, and luxury and are expressed in Matisse's work. It's Matisse, isn't it? Goodness. Okay, now I recognize this painter, Matisse's work. It was Matisse's narrowness. I can think of no modern artist with less interest in history or psychology that saved him from the negative and destructive attitudes of the class life to which his art belonged. It was his focus on color that allowed him to enjoy this milieu without being corrupted by it or becoming critical of it. He thought, and so only in terms of silks, fabulous furnishings, women with nothing to do but lie on grass or rug of for the delight of men's calm eyes, flower beds, jewelry, and perfect fruit, as though such joys and achievements, unspoilt by mention of the price, were still the desire of the entire world. But from such a vision, he distilled experiences of sensuous pleasure, which, disassociated from their circumstances, have something of the universal about them. It's written by John Berger in 1954. It's called Matisse. Interesting. And I really want to see a Matisse painting, and I probably have, seeing how it's described as sunlight, flowers, women, fruit, and sleep. I think I probably have. Maybe all of us have, whoever is watching this or watches this later. Okay, so I realized that, reading out loud doesn't really help me unless I'm reviewing. I realize that. And it's much faster if you're reading in your head. And I realize that too. And obviously on the day of the exam, that's what we're going to be doing, that we're going to be reading fast in our head. And my plan is to read it once in my head and attempt the questions and then go back and not going through, even though sometimes when I'm reading out loud, I'm like listening to myself reading the words, but my mind is really not comprehending what I'm reading, and I think that's normal. And it's not ideal, but for this purpose, like purpose of doing it together and me solving it or like attempting the questions online, or in a recorded video, I think it's okay to take some time, but it's not gonna like, it's gonna have to be faster than we're going at it right now, I realize that. I don't know if you noticed, but I have a background of when you were just looking at me, I had, like maybe you'll see it again, but I had the background of a, like, the cubicle, cubicles, the computer cubicles, and the testing room or testing center that most likely, um, people are gonna be in, who are giving the MCAT exams. So just to get, like, into, like get into the, feelings of how it's gonna really be like. Okay, so let's go back to the question. Question one, implicit in the passage is the assumption that Matisse's work used a broad spectrum of colors. Color is an important feature of any painting. The French upper middle class sought pure color. It is unusual for a painting to focus on color. I think the last two are, oh, assumption. Um, I don't know about the last two. Matisse's work used a broad spectrum of colors. Color is an important feature of any painting. The article is about Matisse, so A seems more likely. Matisse's work used a broad spectrum of colors, and he repeatedly declared that color must serve expression. And now, looking back at his lifelong work, one can see that it represents a steady development towards his declared aim. His work of the last 15 or 20 years, coming nearest to his idea, Matisse's achievement rests on his play with pure color. Pure color, as Matisse understood, it had nothing to do with abstract color. He repeatedly declared that color must serve expression. So what does it mean by pure color? And it was important for him. So the French upper middle class saw pure color. Well, that's it. Henry, I'm just going through it again. And it will be probably very helpful for you to have this on your pulled up on your screen, jackwestin.com. In like in one separate window, you could have like this. So you're doing this on your own. You should be doing this on your own as well. So just because so that you can save the questions, keep a track of how you're doing this every day. So I want people who feel worried, exhausted, overworked to get a feeling of repose when looking at my painting. This doesn't talk about color. He wanted to express the nearly religious feeling he had towards life, towards the blessings of sunlight, flowers, women, fruits. Like when color is incorporated into a regular pattern, as in a Russian rug, it is a subsidiary element. The logic of the pattern must come first. When color is used in paintings, it usually serves either as a decorative embellishment of the forms, as say in Botticelli, or as a force charging them with extra emotion, as in Van Gogh. Van Gogh, I hope everybody's seen like Van Gogh's paintings. He doesn't use very many colors. All that comes to mind is lots of oranges, yellows, bright, and blue, right? In Matisse's masterful later works, color becomes the entirely dominant factor. His colors seem neither to embellish nor charge the forms, but to uplift and carry them on the very surface of the canvas. His reds, blacks, golds, ceruleans flow over the canvas with a strength and yet utter placidity of water above a beer, the forms carried along on the current. Obviously, such a process implies some distortion of the painted objects, but the distortion is far more of people's preconceived ideas about art than of nature. The numerous drawings that Matisse always made before he arrived at his final color are evidence of the pains he took to preserve the essential character of his subject, while at the same time letting the play with color alter it. Certainly, the effect of these paintings is what he hoped. Their subjects invite one embarks, and then the flow of their color areas holds one in such short equilibrium that one has a sense of perpetual motion, a sense of movement. It is of course true that Matisse's standards of imagination and taste belong to the world of French upper middle class. No other class in the modern world enjoyed the kind of seclusion, fine taste, luxury that are expressed in Matisse's work. It was Matisse's narrowness. I can think of no modern artist with less interest in history or psychology that saved him from the negative and destructive attitudes of the class life to which his art belonged. It was his focus on color that allowed him to enjoy this milieu without being corrupted by it or becoming critical of it. He thought and saw only in terms of silks, fabulous furnishings, women with nothing to do but lie on grass or rug for the delight of men's calm eyes, flower beds, jewelry, perfect fruit. Unspoilt by mention of the price were still the desire of the entire world. But from such a vision he distilled experiences of sensuous pleasure, which, disassociated from their circumstances, have something of the universal about it. Matisse's work used a broad spectrum of colors. Color is an important feature of any painting. The French upper middle class sought pure color. It's not that the French upper class sought it. It was him. I heard something. Okay. All right. Matisse's work used a broad spectrum of colors. Broad spectrum, like lots of colors. They've literally mentioned like how many colors he has: reds, blacks, golds, ceruleans. And I don't know. I'm sort of confused about this question a little bit. I don't know why. It is unusual for a painting to focus on color. That's completely wrong. Color is an important feature. Implicit in the passage is the assumption that color is an important feature of any painting. Well, I don't know. I'm lost, and maybe it's like the pressure of the time too, but I'm not feeling very confident about choosing what I want to choose. So it's not that he uses a broad spectrum of colors, right? Like he's not. He's using pure colors. And pure colors, I'm assuming, are not mixed, so they're not abstract. And a mixture of colors, I'm thinking, is abstract. So he's using pure color, not a broad spectrum. Wouldn't that be like a lot, like a variety, right? Maybe I have it wrong. Color is an important, so assumption that color is an important feature of any painting. We get that from this passage right here. It is a subsidiary element. The logic of the pattern must come first. Well, okay, so that's actually when color is used in painting, it usually serves either as decorative embellishment of the forms. Okay, so here it's sort of like it may be important, but it's an important feature of any painting. However, it's not like the most. Like it's like a decorative element, they're saying. Matisse was part of the French upper middle class, and he did sought pure color. So he was part of it, and he was seeking pure color. Implicit in the passage is the assumption. Okay, so it's an assumption. It's not like put out. It is unusual for a painting to focus on color, but to uplift and carry them, his colors neither seem to embellish nor charge the forms, but to uplift and carry them on the very surface of the canvas. I don't know. I think the French upper middle class sought pure color. It is unusual for a painting to focus on color. Matisse's work used a broad spectrum of colors. A broad spectrum, reds, blacks, golds, ceruleans. What he hoped, their subjects invite, one embarks, and then the flow of the color areas holds one in such short equilibrium that one has a sense of perpetual motion, a sense of movement with all friction removed. So the color that he was using distorted the painted objects. But the distortion is far more people's preconceived ideas about art than of nature. The numerous drawings that Matisse always made before he arrived at his final color are evidence of the pains he took to preserve the essential character of his subject while at the same time letting the play with color alter it. Okay, so this makes me believe that he is using a broad spectrum of colors. Color is an important feature of any painting. Yes, right? But painting, obviously, you're painting with color. He's not gonna have like drawings. Implicit in the passage is the assumption that this is not right. The French is that pure color. It's him. We're just gonna go ahead with color is an important feature of any painting. How can it not be, right? When you think of Van Gogh's work, you think of certain colors. Matisse, clearly I can picture the kind of painting that he does, and it's got all these elements, such as sunlight, flower, woman, fruit, but then it's a little distorted with the colors that they're describing here. Reds, blacks, golds, ceruleans. Let's see. Oh, okay. All right, well, why is D the answer? This is the best one. D, it is unusual for a painting to focus on color. This answer is the best one. The passage argument discusses Matisse's focus on color as if it is unique. as if this perspective is unusual. This is the clearest in paragraph 3, which discusses the traditional uses of color in paintings. I did not get that. Not getting that. It is unusual for a painting to focus on color. Okay. Didn't get it. What are they saying about B that I chose? This is also tempting given the discussion of color in the passage. However, the claims made here are too broad for the passage to support. So too broad. So it will serve us well to be more narrow. Okay. All right. Let's move to the next one. Of the following passage claims, which one is most supported by evidence or explanation in the passage? Matisse used bright and vibrant colors. Matisse has unique access to his subjects. Matisse used color for more than ornamentation. Matisse's work expressed a religion feeling. He wanted to express a religion feeling. Which one is most supported by evidence or explanation in the passage? So he wanted to, but I feel like Matisse used color for more than ornamentation. Let's see. Okay, good. C is related to the main idea of the passage about Matisse's use of pure color, and it discussed at length in paragraph 2 and 3. And about D, they said this is stated briefly in the second paragraph, but is not discussed at length enough to be better than C. Okay. Information from the passage's fourth paragraph suggests that the author believes that distortion does not change how a painting is seen, is always typical of vivid colors, is characteristic of artists besides Matisse, does not necessarily make a painting worse. I think A would be the answer because it talks about how obviously such simple process implies some distortion of the painted objects, but this distortion is far more of people's preconceived ideas about art than of nature. Far more of people's preconceived ideas about art than of nature. Okay. The numerous drawings that Matisse always made before he arrived at his final color are evidence of the pains he took to preserve the essential character of his subject, while at the same time letting the play of color alter it. Certainly the effect these paintings is what he hoped. Their subjects invite, one embarks, and then the flow of the color areas holds one in such sure equilibrium that one has a sense of perpetual motion. Okay. Information from the passage's fourth suggests that the author believes that distortion does not change how the painting is seen. Well, it does change how the painting is seen, but it does not necessarily make a painting worse. Is always typical and vivid. Color is characteristic of artists besides Matisse. Well, I don't know. I think this might be most supported, but I could be totally wrong. I am not wrong. Okay. This is best answer because the fourth paragraph mentions the distortion entailed by prioritizing color while still explaining how great Matisse's paintings are. I really want to see a Matisse painting right now. The glowing description at the end of the fourth paragraph suggests that the distortion is part of what made Matisse's paintings so great. And why is A not correct? This is incorrect because paragraph 4 clearly suggests that distortion affects how painting is seen. Couldn't have been more wrong initially, right? I think that's what I wanted to believe, that when I read the first time and I thought that he was preserving the form, like whatever he drew, that it wouldn't change what we saw, but we did, because then he talks about how people's perception, of it, people's, what is it? People's preconceived ideas about art than nature. So it does change. So, okay, um, since it challenges viewers' expectation. Yeah. Yeah, I have a book that has a, painting, of and it's amazing, it always amazes me. It's like a painting of a woman, um, but the paint is smeared, and I wish I could show it right now, but Um, it's actually a neuropsychology book, and the woman's face is clearly visible. Like, you can definitely make out the form, but form of the face, right? But and you can see like what she looks like. However, there's paint smeared over. So I'm like thinking that Matisse's work sort of kind of looks like that. Maybe it looks completely different than that. Okay, so fourth one. The author's reasoning implies Matisse's imitators should do which of the following? Use a broad range of works. So I'm like, I really don't like this broad word for some reason. I need a clearer word than broad. Use a broad range of colors, basically like lots of colors, like lots of different colors. Experiment with color. Focus on projecting pleasure. Study the upper middle class and totally become immersed in it to the point that nothing influences you. You should know nothing. You should not be critical of it. So you're totally immersed in it like he was. And focus on projecting pleasure. Okay. Um, This last paragraph might give us an idea, but from such a vision, he distilled experiences of sensuous pleasure, which, disassociated from their circumstances, have something of the universal about them. Let's do the focus on projecting pleasure. Oh no. Okay. Well, lots of other people chose this, so why is this wrong? So B is the best answer. Experiment with color. This is the best answer because it is not it not only addresses Matisse's use of color, but the unique way that he uses it, which is the main idea of the passage. Okay. Clearly, I was focusing on his influence from the society that he lived in. Says something about me, I guess. C is incorrect. The answer is incorrect because it is out of the scope of the passage, which only addresses color, not what effects color might generate. This confused me, really. Passage content category, art. Passage's main idea. Matisse, great, because of his play with pure color. Okay. Wow. All right, last question. And we're like 2:50, it's where I am is 2:52 Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, and that's great because I have a class at 3 o'clock. So which means we will be done before that. Which of the following, if true, would most challenge the author's views as presented in the passage? Matisse's apprentices. See, I can't pronounce this word. I can't pronounce some words. Um, let's see. I have to go back. Okay. Matisse's paintings were rarely okay. Matisse's apprentices usually handled coloring his work. That I would say would be highly unlikely. Matisse's paintings were rarely viewed until after his death. No, because his paintings are famous and so great. Matisse's contemporaries saw genius. Oh, which of the following, if true, would most challenge the author's views as presented in the passage? Challenge the author's views. Okay. Matisse's contemporaries saw genius in his use of colors. Matisse's sketchbooks only contain black and white images. Would most challenge the author's views. So it's something that the author has said, and it would most challenge, like if true. So we have to assume that all of these could be, if all of these could be true, and then they like which one would be like the most wrong in terms of what the author is portraying or trying to put forth in this passage. Matisse's apprentices usually handled coloring his work. Well, that would really challenge it, right? Matisse's paintings were rarely viewed until after his death. This could be true. Author said nothing about this. Matisse's contemporaries saw genius of his use of colors. Well, this is the author's views. His contemporaries may completely not have, right? Matisse's sketchbooks only contain black and white images. He did mention sketches and stuff, but why would it only contain black and white images, right? I would say this. And it's correct. But some people did think pick 31%. They picked D. So that was an idea that was mentioned by the author, right? When he was focused on the that his numerous drawings that Matisse always made before he arrived at his final color are evidence of the pains he took to preserve the essential character of his subject, while at the same time letting the play of color alter it. But it doesn't say anything about black and white. So A weakens the passage because it disassociates Matisse from the color in his paintings. If Matisse's apprentices handled the color in his paintings and not Matisse, then one probably could not justifiably point to the use of color in Matisse's paintings as proof of his genius. Right. And D, the answer might be tempting because it seems to go against the main idea about Matisse's use of color, but the fact that his sketchbook is in black and white is actually stated in the passage, and not in a way that challenges the passage. Okay. Don't really understand this. And where does it say black and white? Right? It's just before he colored, right? Am I missing something? Okay. In any case, so this was great. I'm gonna stop sharing the screen, and you see that background right now of the cubicles that very soon people who are and anybody who's writing the MCAT is going to be in a testing center near you. That's going to be sitting in one of those cubicles. So I just sort of getting the feeling, getting ready sort of to sit in one of these cubicles and write this exam. And with that, I hope all of you have a wonderful rest of the day, rest of Friday. And today I'm going to attempt something because it is Friday. Later on in the day, hopefully maybe late night, I'm going to attempt, or maybe tomorrow morning, I'm going to see how it goes. It might be like a late Friday or early Saturday. I do have some things to do at home, and I do have to work on some assignments as well. And I'm finishing up for a couple of courses. But I hope to do like this fun sort of live stream, now that I've figured out how to do a live stream about news that caught my eye, articles, various topics, like really all over the place. I have bookmarked a few. I go through the news every day, and anything that seems like it's interesting, and it's like all over the place, all different topics, not just science, not just health, although that is my background. Um, and hopefully I can talk about it, and hopefully more people will find my live stream and more people will join. All right, well, have a terrific day, and thank you for joining me, or thank you for listening to the replay.